Hi, this is Marie. I'm one of your marker pop colorists. I have a mini tutorial for you today. Today we'll be doing a natural blending family, E30, E33, E35, and E37. I stamped my image on some scratch paper, just some regular copy paper. This allows me to establish where I want my highlights and where I want my shadows. As I shared last week, we were going to be doing another natural blending family this week, and not all blending groups, combos, are natural blending families. But if you're just starting your Copic collection, it's a great way to start. I colored Scarecrow Marci up, and I have her highlights coming from the front. I applied a few shadows and folds into her dress. I think it added a nice touch. And I really like the combo of the brown and the black together. So that's our natural blending family. The E is the color. The 3 will remain consistent throughout our natural blending family. And the color, the number, the digit that will change will be the 2nd. The letter is always your color. Your first digit will be the vibrancy or the amount of color in the ink. The 2nd digit will be your value or your shade. That's how light or how dark. From 0, 0, 0 to 9, the higher the number goes, the darker your value or your shade. Now on this, I laid down my highlight color, my base coat, so that I'll get an even smooth blend. Working in small areas will allow my ink to stay wet and promote ease with blending. And now I'm working out where I want my shadows to be. It's kind of under the hat band, under that flower. I'm creating some actual folds in this floppy big hat to match her dress. I'm putting in shadow areas under the rim of the hat. And I'm flicking outward with my midtone. From the very outer edge of the darker color, flicking toward my highlight. I hope you take out some paper and just try to color along sometime. It's a lot of fun, and just give the folds in the fabric a try. So if you're trying to build that Copic collection of yours, begin try the natural blending families. Begin with the same family color, the letters, the same saturation, which is that very first digit, and then keep 2 or 3 digits to separate each one, like a 0, a 3, a 5, and a 7. Again, just flicking toward your highlights here on these folds, allowing the light to highlight areas, giving that hat more and more dimension. And I like to clean off the very nibs of my pens every now and then. I hate it when I'm transferring ink when I'm not intending to do so. Sometimes I want to transfer ink, but other times I really don't want to carry a bunch of darker ink over into my highlights. You notice again, I'm working in small areas to keep our ink wet so that you'll have more ease with blending. Working on the lower half, then we'll work on the upper half. Again, just applying a base coat. You don't have to be super careful with it at this point. You're just laying down a little bit of color. Then I'm mapping with my midtone where I'd like to have some of my highlights or shadows. And again, that'll be around the flower in the upper portion of the band of my hat, the corners, the upper part, giving the hat dimension. Just flicking again toward my highlight. But being very careful to reserve some of that highlight. Again, it's so much easier to darken than it is to try to lighten color once you've added too much. All you can really do to get a good color blend is to go darker. Flicking toward the highlight. I think this image is adorable and would work well for the fall time or Halloween. Sometimes I like to go back and look at my image frequently and see what areas I need to darken. Add a little bit more contrast between my very darkest and my highlight. Again, cleaning your nibs. One thing I am going to do next week is I also teach background classes, and I'd like, I know my students won't mind if I share one background with you, and it's applying some distressed ink. Share that with you next week with this same image, just to show you how adding some backgrounds to your images can really give a very different effect. Can help tell the story of what you're wanting to portray. Just really darkening some areas of the dark shadows now in my image, just some final touches to really allow, I'm someone who really likes a lot of contrast, but again, that's your personal preference. Some people like to keep their images fairly light. Me, I like a lot of contrast. So I think she's a cutie. And there she is. You can see that this Express It paper is nice and thin. You get a good saturation through, but it doesn't use a lot of ink and waste any of it. So you get a good coloring. Okay, so for next week, we'll do the background. Have a great week.